Imagine you are sitting in a quiet garden. The wind moves through the leaves. The sound of water flows nearby. I want to share with you something that may lighten the burden you carry in your mind, the burden of tomorrow. Many people live as if the future is a shadow chasing them. They wake up in the morning, but their minds are already in next week. They walk, but their thoughts are far ahead. And so they miss the only time where life actually exists, the present moment. The future is uncertain. It always will be. But uncertainty is not the enemy. It is the nature of life itself. The problem is not that the future is unknown. The problem is that we fear it. When you fear the future, you give it power over you, even though it hasn't happened yet. This is like being chased by an imaginary tiger. The heart races, the breath shortens, but there is no real danger in front of you. So what can we do? We must learn to focus on what is within our control and to let go of the illusion that we can control what hasn't yet arrived. The seed in the soil does not worry about whether the sun will shine tomorrow. It simply grows today, and if tomorrow comes, it will meet it with whatever strength it has built in this moment. The mind that stays present becomes unshakable, not because it knows the future, but because it has trained to face it, whatever it may be. So do not waste your energy living in a future that is only a thought. Live now fully. The future will take care of itself when it becomes the present. The human mind craves stability. It seeks to know what will happen, when it will happen, and how it will happen. This is why we plan, why we create routines, why we make predictions about our lives. And yet even the most carefully constructed plans can be disrupted in a single moment. You may prepare for months for a journey, only for the weather to change. You may invest years in a career, only for the company to close. This is not a flaw in life. This is the very nature of life itself. The future is, and will always remain, uncertain. It is a river whose path we cannot map in full, no matter how hard we try. And yet instead of learning to flow with the river, many try to freeze it, to turn it into something rigid, predictable, and under control. The irony is that this very attempt to control what cannot be controlled is what creates inner suffering. If you look into nature, you will see that uncertainty is not a defect, it is a source of vitality. The forest does not know which tree will grow tallest. The clouds do not know where the wind will carry them. The ocean does not know the shape of its next wave. Yet each of these continues to exist in harmony with the unknown. The tree grows not because it knows what the weather will be tomorrow, but because it lives fully in today's sunlight. The wind blows without a map, and yet it never loses its way. The moment we accept that uncertainty is the default state of the universe, we stop fighting against reality. And when we stop fighting reality, we discover peace. This peace is not the result of predicting the future. It is the result of no longer needing to. The problem arises because human beings have been trained to equate uncertainty with danger. For our ancestors, this association made sense. Not knowing what lay beyond the next hill could mean survival or death. But in the modern world, most of our fears are no longer based on immediate threats. They are based on imagined possibilities. You may lie awake at night thinking about whether your job will still exist next year, or whether a certain relationship will still be intact in 5 years. Yet in that moment, as you lie there, you are physically safe. The air fills your lungs, your body rests on a bed, and no immediate danger surrounds you. The fear exists only in your thoughts, projected onto an imaginary future. This is where we must recognize a crucial truth. Uncertainty does not inherently mean danger. Uncertainty simply means possibility, and possibility can be both challenge and opportunity. Consider the lives of those who have embraced uncertainty. Every explorer who sailed into uncharted waters, every artist who painted a blank canvas, every inventor who built something the world had never seen, they all stepped into the unknown. If the future had been fully predictable, nothing new would ever have been created. It is precisely because the future is not fixed that change, growth, and transformation are possible. The unknown is not the enemy. It is the soil in which your potential grows. If you can shift your perception from uncertainty is a threat to uncertainty is a space of creation, then you no longer live as a victim of the future, but as an active participant in shaping it. And while you may never control the entire river, you can learn to guide your own small boat through its currents, not with fear but with presence and adaptability. Fear has its place in life. It is a natural response that helped our ancestors survive in an unpredictable world. When a predator appeared or when a storm approached, fear was a signal to prepare, to act, to protect life. But in the modern world, much of the fear we experience is not connected to a direct, immediate threat. Instead, it is connected to thoughts. You are not being chased by a tiger, yet your heart races as if you are. You are not standing on the edge of a cliff, yet your palms sweat as if you might fall. What has happened is that the mind has created a picture, a vivid image of what could go wrong in the future, and the body reacts as if that image is reality. This is the power and the danger of imagination when it is left untrained. If you examine your moments of anxiety closely, you will see this pattern. You begin with a small thought. What if I fail the exam? Or what if I lose my job? That thought does not stay small, it grows. The mind begins to paint details. The faces of people judging you, the discomfort of not having income, the imagined conversations explaining your failure. You start to feel the emotions of those imagined moments now, as if they are happening. The body tightens, the breath becomes shallow, and you are no longer present in this moment. Yet, in truth, none of what you fear has happened. The enemy you are fighting exists entirely in your own projection of the future. This is like running through a forest, exhausted and afraid, when in reality there is nothing behind you at all. The tragedy is that this pattern not only steals peace in the present, it also weakens your ability to face the future when it actually arrives. Imagine a warrior who spends all his energy swinging his sword at shadows. By the time a real opponent appears, he is already too tired to fight. In the same way, when you spend days or weeks in mental combat with imagined problems, you drain your energy and clarity. Then if a genuine challenge does come, you meet it already weakened by the battles you fought only in your mind. Fear, when based on reality, can sharpen your senses. But fear, when based on imagination, dulls your strength. This is why awareness is so important. To recognize when your fear is a signal to act in the present, and when it is just a story your mind is telling you. There is a profound freedom in realizing that you do not have to believe every image your mind creates. Thoughts are like clouds. They pass through the sky of your mind, but they are not the sky itself. When a fearful thought about the future appears, you can observe it without stepping inside it. You can look at it and say, "This is just a picture my mind has drawn. It is not reality." By doing so, you stop feeding that image with your attention and it begins to dissolve. This does not mean you ignore real responsibilities or challenges. It means you reserve your energy for the actual moment when they arrive. Fear will still arise at times. This is human. But with awareness, you will no longer be ruled by the ghosts of the future. Instead, you will meet life as it truly is, not as your imagination has distorted it to be. One of the greatest sources of human frustration comes from directing our energy toward things that lie completely outside our control. We want the weather to match our plans, the world to move according to our expectations, and people to act in ways that fit our preferences. Yet life has never promised such compliance. When we attempt to control what is uncontrollable, we create a constant state of resistance, a pushing against reality. This is like trying to hold back the tide with your bare hands. No matter how much effort you exert, the waves still return. True wisdom is not found in trying to bend the world to our will, but in learning to distinguish between what belongs to us and what does not. The moment you see this clearly, your actions become precise and your mind becomes lighter. The present moment is the only place where your influence truly exists. You cannot change what has already passed, and you cannot directly control what has yet to arrive. But right now, in this breath, in this step, in this choice, you can shape something real. The way you speak to someone today can strengthen or weaken a relationship. The way you care for your body today can enhance or diminish your health tomorrow. These are within your control. And when you consistently invest your energy into these immediate tangible actions, you begin to notice a shift. The future, though still uncertain, starts to take a form that is more aligned with your values. It is not because you have controlled the future, you cannot, but because you have shaped the present in such a way that the future grows naturally from it. Consider the difference between a gardener and someone who simply dreams of a garden. The dreamer may imagine how beautiful it will be, how fragrant the flowers, how tall the trees. But if they spend their time only worrying about whether next year's weather will be favorable, nothing will grow. The gardener, on the other hand, knows that the weather is beyond their control, but the act of planting, watering, pruning, and protecting the soil is entirely in their hands. By focusing on these actions today, they create the best possible conditions for tomorrow's growth, regardless of whether the weather is perfect or challenging. In the same way, when you invest yourself in what you can do now, you place yourself in harmony with the natural laws of life. You work with reality, not against it. Shifting your focus to what is within your control requires both humility and discipline. Humility, because it means accepting that you are not the master of all events. The world will unfold in ways you cannot predict or command. Discipline, because it demands consistent action in the areas where your choices do make a difference, even when those actions seem small or insignificant. It is easy to drift into worrying about what lies beyond your reach. It is much harder to anchor yourself in the present moment and attend to what you can actually influence. But this is the essence of true strength, the ability to let go of illusions of control while taking full responsibility for the reality you can shape. Over time, this way of living does not just reduce anxiety, it builds confidence, because you know that whatever the future brings, you have done your part today. If we were to observe nature with patience and openness, we would discover that it carries within it the lessons humanity has spent centuries searching for. Nature does not rush, yet everything is accomplished. A river never worries about whether it will reach the ocean. It simply flows, finding its way around rocks, through valleys, over mountain sides. A tree does not compare its height with the one next to it. It grows toward the sun at its own pace, season by season. A seed buried in the dark earth does not demand to see the sky immediately. It waits, nourished by soil and rain, until the right moment arrives. In all of this, nature teaches us one of the most profound truths. Life unfolds according to its own timing, not ours. And when we align ourselves with this rhythm, we find a sense of trust that frees us from constant worry. In nature, there is no separation between being and becoming. A flower in its budding stage is not less than when it is in full bloom. It is simply at a different point in its process. This is a lesson for us. We often judge ourselves harshly if we are not yet where we want to be, as though our value is tied only to the final result. But nature shows that every stage is necessary. The seed is no less important than the tree. The winter is no less important than the summer. Each stage plays its role in preparing for the next. If you can learn to embrace the stage you are in now, without trying to force the next one, you will move through life with greater ease. Just as a season cannot be rushed without harming the crops, your growth cannot be hurried without disrupting its depth. When we forget to learn from nature, we fall into the trap of constant force, pushing, pulling, controlling, and demanding results before their time. We become like a farmer who digs up the seed every few days to check if it is growing. This impatience does not help the seed, it harms it. In our own lives, constantly checking and worrying about the future has the same effect. Growth requires trust. Trust that the actions you take today will bear fruit tomorrow, even if you cannot yet see the outcome. The tree does not doubt whether the sun will rise. It simply positions its leaves to receive it when it comes. Likewise, you can position your actions and your mindset to be ready for opportunities when they appear, without exhausting yourself by chasing them before they arrive. The beauty of nature is that it accepts both abundance and challenge without complaint. The river does not curse the stone in its path. It moves around it. The tree does not resist the wind. It bends to survive the storm. This is not weakness. It is strength through adaptability. Nature thrives not by avoiding difficulty but by responding to it with resilience. If we take this lesson into our own lives, we begin to see that the future, no matter how uncertain, is not to be feared. It will bring both calm days and storms, both winters and springs. And just as the forest trusts in the return of light after darkness, you too can trust in your ability to endure, adapt, and grow. When you live in harmony with the natural laws that govern everything around you, you no longer need to force life to unfold. You simply allow it to, and in doing so you discover a profound kind of peace. In life, many people believe that security comes from being able to predict what lies ahead. They study patterns, analyze trends, and prepare countless backup plans. While preparation has its place, the truth is that no amount of prediction can fully protect you from the unknown. Life has a way of surprising even the most careful planners. The real foundation of security is not found in knowing the future. It is found in knowing yourself. When the mind is trained, it does not need to foresee every possibility to face it with confidence. Like a martial artist who may not know the exact move their opponent will use, but has practiced enough to adapt in the moment, a trained mind can meet any future with clarity and balance. Training the mind begins with presence. Presence is the ability to be fully aware of what is happening here and now, without being pulled into the noise of past regrets or future fears. This awareness sharpens your perception, allowing you to see situations clearly instead of reacting blindly. Think of a mountain climber on a steep path. If their mind is scattered, worrying about storms that might come tomorrow, they are more likely to slip today. But if their attention is fully on the placement of each step in this moment, they climb steadily and with control. The future, whatever it holds, will be met from the ground they stand on today. Presence is not passive, it is an active readiness that comes from training the mind to remain steady in the middle of change. A trained mind also understands that strength is not rigidity, it is flexibility. Many imagine that to be strong means to be unmovable, like a stone. But a stone can be shattered by enough force. True strength is more like bamboo, deeply rooted, yet able to bend without breaking. When the future arrives with unexpected events, loss, change, opportunity, challenge, the rigid mind resists and cracks, while the flexible mind adapts and endures. This adaptability comes only from practice, the practice of observing your thoughts without being controlled by them, of meeting challenges as lessons rather than threats, of trusting that you can respond to whatever comes without needing to control it in advance. Just as the body gains strength through repeated training, the mind gains resilience through repeated practice in staying present and adaptable. When your mind is trained, the unknown is no longer an enemy. It becomes a space of possibility. You stop asking, "What will happen to me?" and instead begin asking, "How will I meet whatever happens?" This shift transforms anxiety into readiness. You no longer waste energy trying to fight the inevitability of change, because you have confidence in your ability to move with it. And when you meet life in this way, you find that even the most unexpected events lose their power to overwhelm you. You may not always choose the waves that come, but you will have learned how to swim in any water. This is the quiet strength of the trained mind. It does not seek to predict the future, because it is prepared to live it fully as it arrives. When you look closely, you will see that life is not asking you to control the future, it is asking you to live the present well. The uncertainty ahead is not a storm sent to destroy you, It is the open sky in which you can choose your direction. The fears you carry are often just shadows your mind has created, and they dissolve when you bring your attention back to this moment. By focusing on what you can influence now, by learning from the patience of nature, and by training your mind to remain steady in the face of change, you prepare yourself for whatever comes without needing to predict it. Do not wait for a perfect future to give yourself permission to live fully. Life will always be a mixture of known and unknown, of calm waters and sudden winds. But if you stand rooted in presence, your strength will not depend on the conditions, it will come from within. You will no longer be a prisoner of what if, but a master of what is. So when tomorrow enters your mind, welcome it without fear. Let it come in its own time, and meet it with the clarity, calm, and readiness you have built today. In this way you will discover that the best way to prepare for the future is to live this moment completely.